Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Cool Colas here, bringing to you the hustler's perspective. Hope everybody's having a good night. If you kind of look at me right now, I kind of changed my hair up a little bit. Before you saw a little bit of a curly type of look going on with my hair. Now you see more of a fro. I kind of picked it out a little bit. Just got out of the shower, so I wanted to kind of do something a little bit different with it for the time being. And then you see my Traverse City t-shirt. For those of you who don't know what Traverse City is, it's a city that's in northern Michigan, and it's a little beach town. I want to say it's like a cute little beach town because it's small compared to like if you're in a city like Detroit or even like a city like Grand Rapids, kind of like where I stay at. But it's the biggest city that you'll probably find in northern Michigan, and when you go there, there's a lot of like wineries and like food places, and but then there's also like a lot of really cool scenery as well too. My girlfriend and I went last summer and we really like enjoyed ourselves. So if you ever get a chance to go there, like check it out. Go get a custom made t-shirt because this is custom made. Lavender is like one of my favorite colors, so yeah, I wanted to kind of get something different. Red is my favorite color, so a lot of my shirts are red or black or whatever. But anyways, not to keep rambling on here, let's get into it. So if you remember me talking the last time to you on my video, I was speaking about constructive criticism and then negative or toxic people, whatever you want to call it. So just elaborating a little bit further, I want to kind of get into the types of people who are toxic and why it's best to avoid people who are toxic and bring that type of negativity to you. So we'll talk a little bit further on the types in a minute, but I want to kind of get to why it's important. So as humans, one thing that you guys have to realize is that we are very conscious of like the auras that are around us. Like, in other words, what I mean is we need to be conscious of the auras around us because our bodies a lot of times absorb those emotions, those negative emotions and feelings and vibes and things that are around us. So again, when I say that our bodies are like conscious or we are conscious, I'm saying that our bodies a lot of times tell us stuff, mostly like our brains, of course, and then like just how we feel and all that. Like when you feel a situation and it's just not, it doesn't seem right, it doesn't seem like it's something that you need to be around or something that's like in a good space for you. So you know when that happens. So that's what I mean by your body is conscious of it. But what I mean by you personally should be conscious of this type of stuff is you should be conscious in how it affects your hustle and how it affects you as a hustler. So a lot of times, like some of this negativity, it tends to affect the hustle because it tends to manifest in us in a way where it's not impacting us to try to help us to progress as people. So let's kind of dig a little bit deeper into it. I came up with a list of 10 different types of people who you want to avoid who can stunt your hustle in the long run. So let's just start off here. The first person I want to tell you about is the person that I call the sociopath slash non-sympathetic person. So when I say sociopath or non-sympathetic person, I'm specifically talking about people who do not know how to show empathy for others or try to take the time to understand someone's situation. I'd have to say that this is probably one of my least favorite out of all of the people on this list, just because the thing about it is that as humans, we are very dependent people, and we're dependent on others to try to get to where we need to get to, whether we realize it or not. We have to learn to be able to be less selfish. And I think what happens with the sociopath is they tend to be extremely selfish. They only care about themselves. They don't care whether you sink or whether you swim. They only are focused on them. So anytime you may come to them and you may tell them, hey, I got this going on, I got that going on, this is stressing me out, I need help with this, I need help with that, they're not going to care. And the reason why is because they're sociopaths. But let me tell you why this is toxic. It's toxic because at the end of the day, you could be down, you could be at your lowest point. And let's say this sociopath is someone who is a hustler themselves and somebody who has something that you need or has something that you want or can help you or has the leverage to help you. It stunts you because a lot of times they don't do anything or don't care to do anything about making you feel better or uplifting you or doing something to try to help you out in a way. Sociopathic people don't care too much what's going on with you because they're concerned about them, or you're just not important. So you want to avoid these types of people because at the end of the day, they don't do anything for you except make you feel worse about yourself or justify that what you're going through is just not as unimportant. And honestly, you don't really need that in your life. And you'll know when you are around a sociopathic person because you could express yourself to them or your feelings or, what's going on with you or what's going on with your hustle, whatever it is. And then they'll either like just brush it off or they won't care. They may even laugh. Like those, you'll know. You'll have that vibe. I've been around people who are like that before. And the minute that I find out they're like that, I stop telling them stuff. So that's their first one. So your second person I want to kind of talk about are the jealous type. Now, just hearing the word jealous, you already know that it's not good. So as far as jealous people, a lot of times they envy you for what you have or where you are and your status. And a lot of times they want to be where you are. So a jealous person might not necessarily want to see or care to see you fail. A lot do, but not all necessarily care to see you fail. They just don't want to see you do better than them. Tends to be the trend of what I see from jealous people in general. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of jealous people who do want to see you fail as well too. And the thing about it is that it's toxic because you really just don't need that, You don't need someone who's going to try to do everything that they can in their power to bring you down because they want to be up and they want to be at the best level and they don't like at the level that you're at. You don't need that. It's unnecessary and no one has time to just deal with that. So moving on from there, the third one I want to talk to you all about is called the complainer. So the complainer is a person who you probably meet on a regular basis. They could be your family, they could be a friend, they could be an associate, they could be somebody you just don't like, whatever. A complainer is someone who always has to whine or continue to fuss about the things that are going on wrong with their lives. And don't get me wrong, it's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with venting, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a healthy of expression of admitting to when you're frustrated by something in order to get it out. I'm not saying that. But anybody who constantly complains is setting you back because first of all, they're not a good person to learn from and they're not a good person to be around because essentially a complainer doesn't really learn from the things that happen to them. A lot of times they're so focused on talking about what's going on and talking about how it's not fair and what they're entitled to and this and that. And they're not focused anything on trying to act on it or trying to do anything about it. And the reason why that's negative is because it brings you down. And eventually, you start questioning yourself and you're sitting there thinking either one or two things. One, this is annoying. Why am I hanging around this person? Or two, you start to think, hey, they complained about this and that and that. Maybe it's normal for me to complain about these things and I'm just holding back. So you don't need that type of questionability just because a person is complaining about the things that we just experience in life. I mean, again, I hate to say like, it's so callously like, oh, it's life, whatever. But really, if a person's a habitual complainer, a lot of times they're probably not taking action. They're probably just talking about it. And that's just not something you need. So let's talk about the argumentative person. That's the fourth person who I would say is really toxic and you want to avoid. Argumentative people have a great hustle. So don't get me wrong here. But here's the catch to their hustle. Their hustle is arguing. They're the masters of it. They know how to do it all day. They're better than you, no matter if you're right or you're wrong. They're always right. It doesn't matter to them. And they love the idea and get off on the idea of baiting you into arguing with them. The reason why that stunts your hustle is because it's a waste of time. It is a straight waste of time to deal with a person who just wants to argue. And most of the time, it's about nothing. It's about something really silly, about something maybe like politics or something about what someone did or did not do, or what you did or did not do, or what you did or did not say. No one has time for that. That's a waste of time. You could be doing something else besides trying to prove something to someone else. It's a mental game. You don't need to play it. Bottom line. Well, argumentative people, a lot of times they see themselves as people who argue for like just the sport of it, and and a lot of times like they like for somebody to just engage in like their shenanigans, and you don't need to do that. I mean, like you got better stuff to do. You got hustling to do. They're doing their hustle by arguing. Don't participate in that. So number five, I want to tell you about, and this is I think a very important one, is the victim. So when I say a victim, I mean someone who always plays that victim card, like a they're never wrong, they're never out of order, they're never at fault, they're always blaming other people. And even when they make critical mistakes, it's always someone else who did it. And a person who's a victim, a lot of times, they fail to see the error in their ways and how they can learn from when they make mistakes and how they can make it better. They fail to take accountability for their actions and their responsibilities for their actions. Now, I'm going to tell you a very important saying that I actually learned a while back. And I could be paraphrasing here when I say this, but it's pretty close. So I was once told that if you hang around six millionaires, eventually you're going to be the seventh. So what that saying is said to mean that, oh no, I'm just going to appear. It's not said to mean like I'm just going to appear in front of six millionaires and then eventually I'm just going to be a millionaire and poof, that's it, just like magic. What it's saying basically is that a lot of times, like those people who you decide to keep in your circle and to hang around and to, I guess, like try to benefit off of, and you know, who have like-minded ideas, you're going to end up becoming like them. If you're going to be around people who are always going to play victim, a lot of times you're going to start doing that stuff too. And there's a lot of stuff that you're going to miss out on, and a lot of lessons that you're going to miss out on just because you didn't know how to just take ownership for the things that you did. That's why it stops your hustle. Because a lot of times, like what victims like to do is they try to put this perspective into your head that, oh, well, this person did me wrong, or that did me wrong, or this did, or this wasn't right, or this should have happened for me. And the reason why this happened was because of this person's fault. So a lot of times you're going to sit there and think, well, wait, so in my situation, was it my fault? Again, it's a mental game. It's just like the complaining thing. It's a mental game. You don't want to participate in it, and you don't have time for it. Bottom line. Let's talk about the sixth thing, the gossiper. So the reason why the gossiper is such a horrible, I guess, toxin is because the gossiper, I guess that what they try to do is they're so focused on other people. They're so focused on what someone else is doing. They're so focused on someone else's business. They always got to know what's going on with person A or person B, and they always got to tell you. And the thing about it is that a lot of hustlers, and this is kind of something that I want you to kind of key in on. A lot of hustlers move in silence in general. And they move in silence because, one, they're humble, and two, because they don't want to tell everybody their moves until they've made the moves. They want their actions to kind of show. And what gossipers tend to do is, although they're coming to you and they're telling you everybody else's business, chances are they're probably going to end up telling yours as well too. That's going to stun your hustle because someone could try to steal your ideas, although I'm sure you're creative enough to come up with your own again, right? I'm just playing. But anyway, and on top of that too, they're telling other people your moves, and you may not want that. You may not authorize it, but a gossiper doesn't have those type of bounds. They're just all about, you know, the business of talking to other people about other people. And a lot of times it's because they don't have anything going on. And honestly, that's probably most of the people that a lot of us know. They always talk about other people. And other people may not even be like, oh, we're just talking about people we can associate with, but it may be like celebrities, it may be political figures, and it may be somebody who's, you know, doing well and who's high up. Like, if you're just gossiping all day, it's okay to be, you know, have a healthy conversation, but if you're just gossiping all day, then you're really just wasting time, and you're wasting time sitting there listening to that. You could be reading a book that helps you in your hustle. You could be reading a book about finances. You could be reading a book about business. Instead, like you're listening to some gossip. Like that's your reading material, is this fool who wants to sit there and tell you about somebody else's business. Let it go. So the next one I want to talk about is the judgmental person. This is probably my second least favorite on this list because there are so many people out there like this. So a lot of times people who are judgmental have created this paradigm. And for those of you all who don't know what paradigm means, I'll use a different word, but um, this example of how everyone should be in their minds, and that example being everybody being like them. So a lot of times a judgmental person feels as though they can judge another person because they're not like them, or they're not this image of perfection of how a person should be. And that's why they're judgmental, and they're closed-minded. As a hustler, you have to be the most open-minded person you can possibly be. Being around a judgmental person closes that mind, because a lot of times they have already deemed something a certain way. So they're already trying to influence your perspective based off of their narrow perspective. So again, you want to be able to keep an open mind. So this thing that may not seem like um, it's good to a judgmental person because of whatever reason, it could work out for you. But if you listen to them, then you're going to close your mind off just like they did. They stop your hustle because they are simply closed-minded individuals who a lot of times like look down on people in other situations because they're not like them. And nobody's perfect, everybody's different, and there's no reason to judge. You have to be more accepting to people in general. And if you're like around people who are like this, then you need to reevaluate who you're hanging around. Sorry. So number 8, the arrogant person. Plain and simple here. The arrogant person stops your hustle because they simply talk so much about themselves. They have nothing to give you. They have nothing to give you except a spill about how great they are, or how much better they are than this person and that person. An arrogant, or how they've done this, or they've had these accomplishments. The arrogant person cares to talk about themselves more than anything else. Their hustle basically is trying to up themselves. That's pretty much it. Your hustle is to be able to go out there and do exactly what you need to do to be able to get all of your stuff done. An arrogant person is busy trying to create this image of themselves as if they're the greatest thing on earth and they're infallible, and a lot of times they just mask their insecurities in being overconfident. So a lot of times, like, it's not only will it annoy you, but you don't need that type of insecurity and that type of person to be in your vicinity. They're a lot of times they're gonna make you feel as though you're less of a person because they're talking about themselves so much. They're so self-absorbed in them, and a lot of times, like arrogant people, because of that, they'll bring you down to boost themselves up. That's just what they do sometimes. So you want to avoid those people. They're very toxic. Number 9, the manipulator. So this one you have to be very careful of, because a manipulator oftentimes can be a person who is very sweet or very nice. And a lot of times they can, come in and they'll give you stuff. They'll do nice things for you. They'll, treat you with respect. They'll be hospitable, whatever it is. And then like they'll do that for the common reason that they expect you to do something great for them in return. And you don't want to be around a person like that because they're snakes. See, at least with some of these other ones, like, for example, an arrogant person or an argumentative person, they're coming right at you. But a person who's manipulative is going to slyly kind of wean their way in and trying to manipulate you into doing whatever they want. So you want to avoid those people because a lot of times they're there to take from you rather than to give. And that's why it stops your hustle. As a hustler, you're looking to be able to expound your resources and create connections with people who you can do things for them, they can do things for you, which is what life is really all about in general, which is why I love hustling. But I feel like with the manipulator, they're just there to use you. Like you may think that they're doing nice things for you if they're doing nice things for you, but it's for the purpose of using you. In the minute that you don't do exactly what it is that they want, they turn on you like that. So you just want to avoid them. So going forward, let's talk about the 10th one, the liar. So plain and simple, the liar is someone who they don't tell the truth. And a lot of times them telling the truth makes them untrustworthy as a partner. So it stops your hustle because you're looking to say, hey, I'm hoping that I can meet up with this person who I can trust, who I can do business with, who I can, do something great with, go forward with, be cool with, be friends with, establish a relationship with. And then all they do is lie. They don't tell the truth. You can't trust their word. You can't trust that they do everything that they say that they're going to do. And it comes to a point where it's almost stupid for you to hold them to a certain expectation because you know that they're going to lie about it. So again, you don't want a liar in your life, period, but you definitely don't want a liar around as far as your hustle goes, because you want somebody who's going to be extremely honest with you, because as a hustler, you're going to be very honest with whoever you come in contact with. So with them, you've got to have someone who's honest. Liars are they just don't tell the truth, and they can't back up the statements that they make. And then if you're a habitual liar, it gets to the point where everything that you say is being questioned. So now people don't even know what it is that you are telling the truth about and what you aren't telling the truth about. So again, you just want to avoid them. So those are the 10 types of people who are toxic, who you should avoid at all times as a hustler. They'll slow your hustle down, and they'll bring these negative vibes around that you just don't need. You, as a hustler, you need to always keep your spirits up, because you're going to have a lot of hard times. You're going to have a lot of times where it's tough to get to the goal that you need to get to, or you're not happy with yourself. And trust me, I beat myself up a lot. I am a person who is very guilty of beating themselves up all the time. And I can just tell you right now that I tried to take out as much negativity as possible. So I want to encourage you all to do the same, because at the end of the day, you're trying to create a positive environment by your hustle, by your actions. And you don't want anything to slow that down. That's just what it is. But anyways, you guys, it was fun talking with you all. I want to just have you all, if you can, subscribe to this channel at The Hustler's Perspective. If you like what you see and you want to read more, you can subscribe to my blog, thehustlersjackpot.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram at my actual business page, then you can follow me at The Hustlers Jackpot. If you want to follow my personal Instagram page, you can follow me at Cool Colas. With that being said, I hope everybody has a great night. I hope you all keep hustling, and just tune in to the next time I got something for you guys. All right, see you later.